the thing I'm on about is the intersection between the direct experience as a consequence of the expansion of consciousness and psychedelics.
Welcome to Supernormalized, the podcast where we challenge the conventional, break boundaries and normalize the supernatural. Join me, CJ, as we explore uncharted realms of existence and unravel the mysteries of our universe. If you have an unusual knowledge or a unique story to share, reach out to me at supernormalized@proton.me. Let's make the supernatural the new normal. Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of our Enlightening podcast series. Today, we delve into the profound world of Martin Days. Martin contacted me via Proton Mail, which is that address that I just mentioned previously, and said that he'd like to be on the podcast and sent me his Substack. Today, we delve into the profound world of Martin Days, a man who has dedicated his life to understanding and transcending the human condition. Martin is not just an author, he's a thinker, a philosopher, and a guide who navigates the labyrinth of human existence with an unwavering curiosity and a deep sense of empathy. His work is centered around the exploration of the human condition, that complex blend of joy and sorrow, triumph and defeat that defines our existence. Martin believes that we are more than just physical beings confined to the boundaries of our flesh and bones. He sees us as vessels of infinity, capable of transcending our human limitations. This isn't just a fanciful notion or a poetic metaphor. It's an idea rooted in the concept of prana, the life force that permeates all living things. In his Prana and I newsletter, Days delves into the fascinating concept. He explores how prana is not just an abstract idea, but something veritably observable. It's an energy that flows through us, connecting us to the universe and each other in ways that we are only beginning to understand. Martin's exploration doesn't stop at prana. He delves into various tools available for alleviating the burdens of the human condition, from meditation, that ancient practice of quietening the mind and finding inner peace, to interacting with nature, immersing oneself in its beauty and serenity as a way to heal and rejuvenate. And then he touches on psychedelics, substances that have been used by humans for millennia to explore consciousness and gain insights into the nature of reality. Martin approaches this topic with caution and respect, acknowledging both their potential benefits and risks. Through his writings, Martin invites us on a journey beyond our everyday experiences. He encourages us to look within ourselves, to question our assumptions about reality, and to seek out new ways of understanding our place in the universe. So sit back, relax, open your mind, prepare yourself for an enlightening conversation with Martin on transcending the human condition. Before we begin, however, I'd like to express my appreciation. If you are enjoying this audio journey with me each week and would like to support Supernormalized, I kindly ask for your assistance in reaching more curious minds just like yours. I personally invite you, dear listener, to open your podcast app right now and give us a 5-star rating. By doing so, you will help us gain visibility and let the algorithms know that our conversations are worth sharing. Feel free to share your love for the show with the world and let your friends know how much you enjoy Supernormalized. Thank you for support. Welcome to Supernormalized, Martin. So Martin, you contacted me directly saying that you wanted to be on the show to share your ideas, and I went over your website and had a look and read some of your information. I thought, okay, this guy's got something to say. So I thought, well, maybe we should start with your story about how you got to where you are today. I mean, what prompted you to want to reach out? I mean, you want to share your story of your understanding of consciousness and how that mixes with your understanding of psychedelics, as I understand it. So tell us your origin story in all of this.
Yeah, sure, definitely. CJ, thank you. First of all, thank you for responding to my request. I came across your podcast and listened to many episodes, and I thought this will be a perfect platform to speak my mind and to share some of the experiences and insight that I have accumulated through the course of my life.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So, how did this all start for you? I mean, obviously you've had a life of a certain sort of path up to a point, and then there was changes that happened. When did these things all start changing for you, and then your understanding was expanding? What was happening there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's very interesting that many of the realizations that I've had occurred do not occur in a specific point in time. I've gone back in time and saw things that have happened to me that have contributed to an insight or my consciousness expanding a bit. So I had a lot of fun just building a catalog of these experiences so that I can say, oh, this is what brought me to this realization, and this is why this is the answer to why my attitude is towards this phenomena or that phenomena. So where does it begin? I think my first the first time I really began to ponder my existence was when I moved from Macedonia to the United States. I just finished my first year of high school, and I went into this new country where I didn't know anyone, and I spent 2 months of the summer just all by myself and with my brother watching TV and just thinking. And during this period, I had some flashbacks from middle school that were instructive as to the fact that we can go back in time and visualize events that have built, shaped, or misshaped our personality. And this is where I saw myself pestering my literature professor along with a bunch of other children. And I felt, oh my God, this was horrible. I regret doing this. And this was on a very fundamental level. I felt sorrow, I felt regret, and I was compelled to make amends with my teacher, to one day meet her and say, listen, I'm really sorry, you know? And this was one of these experiences. I also, another one was remembering myself in first grade, trying to separate two children from fighting. And this led to me being beaten by one of the kids that I tried to.
I dragged you in.
I wanted to be a peacemaker, and I guess I've always had it in me to make peace between people, and you know, at 14 or 15 years old, realizing this, I was like, it's very interesting that there are so many nuggets in our past that we can unwrap and behold to ourselves and try to make something with it.
Yes.
Yeah, so life has been, I mean, of course, life is a process which is filled with experiences, and we're either oblivious to these or we aren't. And it's a very you know, safe path to take for everyone to start unraveling things from the past in order to make a better future and expand our consciousness mainly.
Okay, so when you explain that it's like going back into the past, and that's it sounds like it's a mind journey that you're going on to reassess situations and experiences. And I've done a bit of hypnotherapy with people in the past because I'm a trained hypnotherapist myself. And a part of that is timeline therapy. So I can actually take people back through the past into events. Is it something like that you're explaining there? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes,
okay.
It is. Yeah, because I believe that it's everything is um, ingrained in our memory,
Mm,
and
mm.
that's the layer of the onion we can peel and peel and peel and reach many new levels and
Yes.
many new planes of our personality and our life experience.
Mm. So would you say your memory is what built you, and it's good to go back and recapitulate over the knots in those experiences to release you from them?
Yes, this is definitely the case, because I believe that, I mean, not just from my own experience, but throughout history, and many people in this very moment somewhere on earth are experiencing a trip down memory lane,
Mm.
and not just reminiscing, but I mean like pulling out things to
Work over.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we're equipped with this ability.
Mm.
Nature and the universe and that which we are,
Yes.
enables us to do this.
Mm, okay, so yeah, I said the word recapitulation before because it's something that Carlos Castaneda wrote into his books when it comes to going back over your past and clearing up anything that's holding you back from stepping forwards into the future. And it's a really good method of actually clearing things out of the way. And it sounds like you're doing something like that with the work that you've been doing on yourself. And over time, it lifts restrictions from you and allows you to step out of the monkey mind into a state of in between. And when you're in the in between, that's when other things in the universe can start talking to you. And in my experience, that's what's happened to me. Is that what
Mhm.
happened to you?
I guess absolutely, you're spot on, CJ. Um, you know, who is it? Is it the universe that wants us to embark on this journey? Is it us? Is it the ego? I don't think it's the ego. It is something that compels us.
Mm,
That past experiences that have shaped or misshaped us, and we're not a finite uh, piece of work. We
yes,
continue to evolve.
true.
These are the veils that separate um, mind from consciousness, and I've learned to distinguish between the two. There is the
Yeah.
brain, and some people still think that we're thinking with the brain, but the brain is the hardware, is the processor. Then there is the mind, and there is consciousness,
Mm,
and it is essential for anyone who wants to embark on the spiritual path, on the path of awakening, to uh, perform, to entertain this exercise,
mm, mm,
because the fewer veils there are, the more we push them aside and dissolve them,
mhm.
the closer we are to the immediate experience,
Yes, yes. And
because these are in the past.
yeah,
Excuse me, these are in the past, and we have to resolve the past and absolve the past so that we can deal
mm,
with the present
yeah.
or with the future.
I've had some curious experiences with that myself. In that, I did get stuck on things that had happened in the past and my perspective of those things, and did go back to visiting with those people that I had experiences with, which I saw as negative, and I'd outline. I literally went and caught up with them and said it's happening this way, and I feel really bad about it. And I just wanted to say I'm really sorry. And then they'd pull me aside and they say, no, that's definitely not what I experienced, but thanks for saying sorry. So it's curious. Sometimes our interpretation of things aren't
It's
always clear, and it still
yeah,
can actually.
highly subjective.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, well, that's right. It's very highly subjective. So yeah, it's interesting that can happen. So obviously, with this, you discovered some techniques for yourself that actually worked really well when it came to this time traveling technique. Um, what worked for you? I mean, how did you do that for yourself?
I simply allowed my mind to just plunge into this undefined space,
Mm,
which has depth and breadth and Mm, I don't do that anymore,
Mm.
uh, because I don't feel compelled.
Yes.
But for the duration of time while engaging with this exercise, I think you simply need to wish to understand and to see some things that have happened in the past, and it's very curious that sometimes these events don't have to be, life shuddering experiences, or something horrendous or something blissful, but there are very tiny insights that are revelatory of our qualities. For
Mm.
example, I discovered, I mean, I saw myself riding in the bus, sitting next to my mother, and uh, meeting the eyes of a woman who's sitting next to a man and a child, and this was in the early '90s in Skopje in Macedonia, this post-socialist city, and these people were foreign. They were probably from the Middle East, and the woman looked at me with kind eyes, and I responded, and and I felt compassion by revisiting this moment. I felt compassion because I had felt compassion for some reason for these people. I vividly remember the faces, and I remember the way I felt.
Mm.
So just to double down, that that we can discover a lot, and it may be a very chance encounter with something
Mm.
that may reveal that, oh, we are compassionate human beings, or we have a side to us that's abrupt, or maybe even violent, because we represent a totality of experiences, not just from our life and life experience, but from we bear a karmic baggage from our ancestors too.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so you're stepping back in time and recovering valuable energy from experiences that you've been through that helped you form who you are.
Indeed, so yes.
And where'd you go from there?
um where it went from there, it this helped to build the puzzle of my personality, or rather to understand the puzzle of my personality. And but the main takeaway is that I was able um to kind of like rebuild this puzzle in front of me, and then look at it, and disengage this thinking apparatus with the personality. So
Mm.
um, I guess I was um, these are Buddhist precepts that I came to discover later on
Mm.
in life, which are instructive of that, again, that immediate direct experience with the absolute,
Mm.
um, and uh, the pathway to uh, this realization or similar realizations, because there can be many, are experiences.
Mm.
By allowing ourselves to be surprised, or to experience danger a little bit, by climbing a mountain all on their own, or visiting the desert or whatnot. Not doing it foolishly, but prepared, and of course,
Mm.
for the sake of the experience, and exploring our own response to that experience. We build an arsenal of experiences that all nudge us towards a better station in life. And to me, it became apparent that being in a good station in life is not necessarily dependent on how much money you make or your career. It's in this plurality infinitesimal plurality that is humanity, not everybody can make $1 million or $1 billion, even though everybody seems to be striving for that, to
Yes.
secure that um, that this in life. But yes, I realized that we're highly complex beings that strive towards a simplicity of sorts. And this is where Taoism fits in perfectly. The Tao Te King, which I discovered in my second year in university.
Yes.
Well, during the course, I didn't touch the book because I was busy with doing other things like partying and just listening to music and everything in between. But
Yeah.
after the course, I began to read the Tao, and every chapter was revealed something. It was a felt experience that we are able uh, to embrace, to have by reading, by encountering the intention of the author of a text, of a book, and it's not just the Tao Te King. It's also, I would like to, one of these experiences was um I was in a relationship, and I was perplexed. I was like, why wouldn't this girl return my calls? We're having such a nice time. We're enjoying ourselves. and it's basically like teenagers trying to figure things out. But I was perplexed. I was weighed down by I was ruminating, you know. And I was reading Siddhartha, and near the end of the book, Siddhartha explains, he makes the parable with the river, the way the river is flowing, but always stays the same. And I was sitting cross-legged on the couch in my living room, and I felt bizarre at the moment. I felt as if my my soul is becoming separate from the body. I felt extremely light, and I was observing this moment for a few moments, and I thought, oh my dear, this is something. And I learned through this experience about attachment and detachment, and from previous experiences, I've had an idea that attaching ourselves too vigorously to anything can be detrimental to our path towards awakening. But
Right.
yeah, this was only intellectualizing this wisdom. To actually experience it is something else. And this is where I also learned how to differentiate between the intellectualization of wisdom and cultural memes and spiritual memes from actually having the experience, which I believe it's highly important for anybody who is embarking on a spiritual path.
So it sounds like you were going along on your path and reading all the right texts, and you discovered Siddhartha. Is that the Hermann Hesse novel?
It is a Hermann Hesse novel. Yes.
Yeah, it's a brilliant novel. I read that one, and yeah, very inspirational in the what would you say, of the understanding of the path, the
Yeah.
path of no path is in as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. CJ, it's beautiful that there are so many pearls that can be discovered in literature that authors have left that are informative of what we're discussing, the direct experience. They can nudge us, they can inspire us, and also, really, I learned how to be appreciative And this is another facet of the spiritual path, to be appreciative. And I feel deep appreciation to you right now because we're having this discussion, and it gives me the opportunity to speak really for the first time, even though I've taken up writing to to make something out of this, to help to put a block in the blueprint of spiritual and psychedelic experience. But this is it. We're doing something.
Yes.
For all the right reasons.
Yeah. Look, I understand what you're going through with that. When I was about 22, I was going through some real extreme experiences and blissful states and phenomena. And I wrote a small book called Sometimes I Look in a Mirror and Allow Myself to Be Surprised. And it was only an 8-page book. I've got it on Amazon if people are actually interested. But it's a very short book, and it's all very simple sort of words about pointing at this path. But I also gave away 500 copies of it, and not many people got it at the time, but it's just still good to get it out there. And one of the things that I was doing at the time as a part of this, I actually had this this being that I was working with turn up to instruct me and work with me. And I was so desperate to have other people understand this path. I said, what do I do to make things happen? What do I do to get everyone understanding this? I want to raise everyone up in this consciousness. And she had said to me directly, don't do anything. Your energy is enough. Just do it. You experience yourself, and other people around you will just raise up. That's what happens. So I think that, it's good that we're talking about it, but you're still actually doing the work even by just living that experience yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's great that that you wrote, even though it is an 8-page book. It is a work. It is a deed that some of the people who read it will get something out of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Perhaps not everybody, but even if one person gets it, it's a win for humanity.
I think so. Yes. That's why I wrote it.
And I agree that nothing is lost. And the lesson that I took, one of the lessons that I took from Lao Tzu, from the Tao Te King, is that he postulates that there is a network that envelops the planet, and that nothing ever escapes. So that all the thoughts that we're leaving, we're actually imprinting in this cosmic consciousness, or maybe we shouldn't go that far. Maybe our planetary consciousness. So there is a process. There's a process that we're beginning to unravel more and more, to discover.
Yeah, right.
And it's super exciting. It's super exciting.
Yeah, well, it's exciting that you want to share it. I'm glad you are sharing it, and I'm glad you're on the show talking about it now. So, you've hit this space, and well, I shouldn't say hit, because that's not the right word. It's more like dissolved into it, into the in between. And as a part of being in that space, you kept on exploring more and more of yourself, and understanding more and more of yourself over time. And you said you were using psychedelics as well. Is that right?
Yes. I've had a few experiences with psychedelics, but I should say enough so as to be content with what I got from it.
Yes.
So I haven't had a dozen trips on acid or psilocybin, but those few were worthy enough for me to still really process.
Yes.
the experience.
You got lots of good value out of it then.
yes, it stays with us, and not only psychedelic experiences, but any experience shouldn't be thrown away, because we can wring the last drop of it to make something of it. But before I mentioned the psychedelic path, that intersection between consciousness and psychedelics, I want to share another experience. This is from my last year of high school, and I was living in New Jersey while I
Yeah.
was in the U.S. and I decided that I don't want to wear glasses anymore, which I've worn since probably fourth or my fifth grade. So I went and got a pair of contacts, and playing basketball or just being myself a lot of times, one of them will fall on the ground and I'll pick it up and I'll do something to clean it up, and I had to clean them and take them off and put them on before going to sleep and after waking. So I this led to an eye infection
Oh no.
eventually, and and um, my senior picture is with my eyes looking really weird, and they were red, and people were probably thinking that I was coming high to school,
Oh,
which I wasn't ever.
oh no.
But I was ignoring this condition until it really disrupted my vision, and
Yeah, right.
I spent probably 3 or 4 days in a
Yeah.
dark room in my living room, uh, being very highly disturbed by the faintest light,
Mm.
and I had to put ointment, a number of times during my waking time. And but from this experience, um, I learned how to listen to music. Being deprived of my vision for that duration of time, um, I had a number of CDs that I played, and these were my father's, and one of the CDs was Pink Floyd, the Division Bell, and this is where I really learned how to listen to music, not with my ears, but with my mind, and with the entirety of um, the apparatus of senses.
Mm.
And there I felt something. Again, it was something that, oh my god, music is wow. I just didn't have words to how it came across. I felt the vibrations, I felt the emotion in it, and it was beautiful. And I got into music heavily
Mm. Mm.
after this experience. And the psychedelic experience in my case is highly related to music,
Right.
because it simply makes it made the music sound more vibrant, more alive. And I was listening to a particular style of music called psychedelic trance,
Mhm.
and this is where I heard about LSD for the first time. And I would immerse myself in the music by simply smoking a little bit of cannabis.
Yes.
I didn't do LSD or any of the drugs that were, that fit that plane.
Mm.
And it took me probably 6 or 7 years to finally try LSD. And I've had a few experiences, and I mean, I don't know where to begin. It was highly subjective, and there were I guess I will be repeating some of the cliches that I'm certain people have shared with the world or with the psychedelic community per se.
Mm.
But everything is moving. Nothing is firmly set in space. Everything is moving, and not only physical objects, but the air and the plants and our hands, of course. And of course, the most movement occurs behind closed eyelids. I
Right.
learned to do this not on the first, not on the second, but on the third experience. It was really the experience that I guess I was looking for, or that I needed. And I was at a um, music event, and once the substance began to take a hold of my mind and consciousness, I simply nestled myself into this space, and I submitted to the music. And it was probably 4 or 5 hours of incessant uh, procession of visuals, and it's impossible to describe, to catch a glimpse of these visuals, but it just goes on and on and on, and it is geometric shapes, and sometimes, and I'm certain that in this liminal space between being aware and being in the dream world, there were eyes and pyramids, and uh, and I came out of this experience, more dumbfounded about who we are and what we're on about, our purpose in life, the fate of the planet. It was revelatory, that we are so much more than than we're thought that we are. Excuse me if I'm jumbling the words. English was not my first language, but
That's
sometimes
okay.
it is. you know and yes, it's a very LSD was an integral experience um that is seeing it from this distance in time, and span of life and experience. It's actually really, it is a difficult, complex, nuanced experience. And unfortunately, I still haven't read Albert Hoffman's book, LSD, My Problem Child, but I have a sense what he's on about, that there should be education before embarking on a psychedelic experience. And I mean
Yes,
this not
definitely.
only with in regard to LSD, but also psilocybin mushrooms. My first mushroom trip was, I believe, a year or two after my first, my third, and I will say final LSD experience.
Yeah.
And the mushroom was different. It provided me with this warmth and a sense of oneness with the world, with people, with myself, which I didn't experience while on LSD. LSD was purely technical. Um, uh, it rendered the mind in a sort of a technocratic machine that is intent on creating on creating images which are not images but geometric shapes that are always in motion. But the
Well,
mushroom, on the other hand,
mm,
is a lot more organic in nature, uh,
okay. I,
because
I
it is organic. Yeah, please
well,
come.
I wouldn't totally agree with you. I'm no spring chicken
Uh-huh.
myself, so I've had some experiences that did feel wholly organic, even though they were of that type. So I wouldn't say that personally, but it's interesting that you actually had those experiences. I'm not sure if that's been colored by your own um, preconceived ideas, or maybe where you were at that time in your life. But in my own experience, it's not always been like that. It has been like that at times, but other times, no, not at all. I've even had contact with entities and extraterrestrials through
Mm-hmm.
through such things, and Yeah, I mean, I've even had experiences so beautiful that when I come back to my body, I'm totally amazed that I'm actually a human. So yeah, and that's yeah, it's
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yes, maybe it sounded as if I believe that the LSD is only that sort of experience. It definitely, most definitely not. It
okay.
can be, of course. It has been for you more organic, but comparing between that and psilocybin, it was very organic and just a different ball game altogether.
Mm,
And mm, I would say meditative. It um, sends us towards this ocean of meditation where we can easily slip into a state of no mind and no thinking. Um, and it is another one of these wonders of the world that it exists. It is there for us to utilize
mm,
in order
mm,
to to change something, to
mm.
to see something new
I would agree
or
with that. I would say
be
also
something
that it seems like that these tools are they're like a shortcut that enables you to see the no mind space and to be in the no mind space if you're receptive to it, of course. I mean, not everyone will get that, and not everyone was going to be able to walk away with it, walk away from an experience and say, well, that was enlightening, because not
else.
everyone has the same experience. Everyone's got their own version of what's happening, what's going on, and what they need at the time seems to turn up. And yeah, so it is an interesting sort of space that they do evoke, and then and it's no surprise that the Buddhist society in America at one stage actually had on one of their covers some talks about some articles in their Buddhist magazines about LSD and Buddhism, because there seemed to be a lot of people that were using that as a gateway to and just had discovered Buddhism by going through that path. So
Mhm.
it's not surprising in any way at all that that actually is like that. So, maybe it is a shortcut, but not all shortcuts work in the end. And some people, go on a journey, and it's like catching a plane. You take your baggage and you put it on the carousel, go for a flight, and then when you get home, you pick your baggage up again, and
Mhm.
you don't necessarily get
Right,
the
right,
benefits. So
right.
maybe
Yes, yes.
yeah, maybe you've been one of the lucky people in that case, when it comes to be able to take away the positive points of consciousness by journeying in this way, and that's a great thing. That's a good thing.
Yes, CJ. It's interesting that what you said about the Buddhists. Uh, I think that they have certain masters uh, of of the philosophy and of the practice, the
Mm,
bodhis throughout time.
yeah.
I'm inclined to believe that some of them have had psychedelic experiences, um, which were gained through deep meditation.
Oh, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
so by
I don't doubt that.
trans,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely, yeah,
yeah.
and not only in Buddhism, but also in Islam, and I believe in Christianity, because there are visual representations of the transcended space
Yes.
in Islamic art,
Yeah.
and right here in one of the monasteries in Macedonia, I've discovered a fresco that depicts a field of electricity and
Mm,
sacred geometry
yeah. That's
interwoven in it.
yes. Yeah. No.
So it is. Mhm,
Yeah, totally agree with you. And I like to put it this way: there's many paths up Great Mountain.
mhm. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, there are. Yeah,
yeah.
but it's to me it's fascinating that as if nature has intended to leave us with these artifacts, being the psychedelics,
Mm,
which we have distilled into cultural signs,
mm,
signets,
mhm,
so that people can can call on them to to step over that boundary between mind and self. But as you said, also this is I'm worried that the psychedelic experience is treated by many people as a magic carpet that we can simply take and take a flight and come back. But have we really learned and implemented something from that? Do things begin to repeat after so many psychedelic experiences? And this is why I felt compelled to come out and talk about the intersection between consciousness and psychedelics, about the intersection between the space of no mind, our ability to stop the mind from going. I believe this, not only I believe, but I know that it informs the psychedelic experience. It enriches it to an extent that we can connect with a higher plane. And this plane is a field of inquiry that we are yet to begin to discover, because it is infinite. And in this infinite space, as I said before, there is a language and there is intelligence. There is a peculiar form of intelligence that wants to engage with us. But it doesn't only want to engage with us as an ego. It doesn't want to engage with the mind, with who we are, our career, what we want to accomplish in life. It wants to engage with our consciousness. And, in our exchange before the podcast, I mentioned that I'm not sure if I'm ready to really go deep into this experience because I think I have my finger on it. But it requires more time so that we can altogether postulate some of the dogmas of this experience, which is not psychedelic per se, and it's not only conscious per se, but it's a fusion of both. And there is a third party in addition to our own consciousness and mind and the medium, may it be the mushroom or cannabis or a glass of wine. The third party in this in the story is something that baffles me. It's I am repeating myself, but it is a language. It is an intelligence that is never the same. It just goes on and creates these essentially, yes, visualizations, but they occur in a space of no dimension. You can't see it from the third dimension. You are in the dimension together with this entity. And the closest thing that resembles this experience is visualization put on a song. The fractal, the thing that always changes. And this form of art has gotten better. I have seen some amazing, never-ending visualizations that, that unravel new images. But by observing this form of art and observing the intelligence, there is a fine difference, because we can only view it with our eyes, but with the other thing, not only can we view it with our inner eye, but we can also be it. And what is it trying to do? I'm not sure. This is starting to look like a field of I don't know, just science fiction, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it the mind of the universe? Is it um, is it a channel from a different civilization? Is it us replicating our thoughts, which are somehow being distilled into a visual representation? Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I,
And yeah.
I'm going to posit something. Okay, how
Mhm.
about this? You are an imagination receptor. So your imagination is like an antenna, and it captures information and then presents it to you. Okay.
Yes, it
So
can be the case. Yeah.
within that, whatever you're receptive to, you'll be able to apprehend and then comprehend and then translate into something useful for yourself.
Mhm.
If you
Yeah,
need.
but the scary detail is that there is nothing to comprehend. This is the most disturbing facet of that experience, is that there is nothing to understand. The only thing that one can do is simply observe and be in total shock. You know what? It's dumbfounding. Yes, I've had visual experiences
Mhm.
with um, psychedelics. I've had a few of
Sure,
those.
sure.
Um, but those bedazzling visual imprints of the psyche, of things that we have encountered in life,
Mm,
um, they appear and they look mesmerizing, and then they fade.
mm,
Of course, the mind can latch onto such a representation and dig into it and try to understand it, try to communion with it, but it will eventually fade. Um, Unlike this, the transcendent experience, um, it doesn't communicate anything in particular. It doesn't have a mind. And
really?
and this is why, yes, it doesn't have a mind in the sense that we have a mind.
Okay.
Uh,
Not my experience, but okay, we'll go with
uh-huh. Yeah, can you
that.
please share your experience? Because as I said, we're making a sense of something that we cannot hold on to.
I think it depends on how you receive it and how you're receptive to it. I mean, I'll give an example. So one time I was going through an experience where I was possessed, and I didn't believe it would be possible to be possessed until I was possessed. And at that stage, I had two entities which were inside me and causing complete and utter havoc, basically putting me in states of terror and causing events in reality around me to occur, which just ramped up all of the terror over and over again. It was very, very annoying, and I knew what it was. And until that moment that happened, I didn't believe it was possible. And so I opened myself up even more to another consciousness, and one popped in, and it was another being which was helpful, and I was so glad for its help. And the being actually had it was a Mexican shaman who was obviously in between all time, and walked me the way out of being possessed. And he
Mhm.
did that through many practices that I followed that made at first no sense at all, but then made sense over time and cured me of the possession.
Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. Do you think that this is an example of uh, a parallel universe, the spirit world,
Oh,
which is
parallel.
brought to mind by the shamans, that in addition to the material world, there
Mm.
is that with
Well,
entities and you know.
okay. So in my experience, the world is made of spirits, and the illusion is that we are solid and living this experience without seeing them. Once you pull the wool off your eyes and you see the spirits absolutely everywhere around you, continuously constructing this reality, then you'll get the gravity of what's actually happening. That happened to
Mhm.
me. I
Mhm.
actually had that happen to me where I had that happen where I had the visual filters taken off, and when it happened to me, I was totally surprised. And the spirits I was working with at the time were totally amused. They're like, "Oh, now you get it." All right. So, and I couldn't go back from there. So, I'm right. I'll write that up one day as a story for people to read. But yeah, it's I know we're living in like as Terence McKenna says, living in an ecology of souls. We are in it all the time, and the experiences we're having, which we see as real, are basically a fiction, which is made that our imagination receptor, which seems to be the body,
Yes.
manifests into a form that we understand and can experience. Who knows why we're here to experience that? But it seems to be that it's meant to be just a good ride. Just enjoy it.
No, absolutely. Yes. There is, everybody is a living soul, beyond the body,
Yeah.
and these souls are out and about doing their own thing, maybe
Yes.
having their own purpose.
Yeah. That's right.
But CJ, I have a question for you, if you
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
Um, there has been much advancement in the way psychedelics are regarded, even by national governments and not just communities.
Sure.
With mushrooms being legalized in a number of countries. Um, and I'm asking this question of myself too, and I would like to get your take on it. Do you think that governments are um, opening up um, to the nature of the world, that it isn't only matter and electrons and atoms, but because from the perspective of the body politic, this is a no-go zone. How
Right.
do we explain this? How do we reckon with this? What do you think about it?
Mm. Okay, so I think governments are a response to our decision to not be responsible for ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
within that, we have government, and then government turns into everything that we see around us. So is that a distraction? Probably is. Is it a dissection of ourselves from being pure love, pure light, pure everything? Probably. And more than likely, what we're seeing over time as we become more accepting of ourselves and what we really are is those barriers start to dissolve, and we'll see changes happening not only in government but in people around us and in people's minds and understandings and acceptance of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yes, we're on the same page, and I believe that um, people in this community share the same view, because we're headed somewhere where we're shifting consciousness,
Yes.
as it seems.
Yeah,
It
for
is
sure, for sure.
unfolding,
Yep.
and um, but we're yet to witness the repercussions of decades, if not centuries and millennia of all the baggage that is weighing down upon society.
Well, look, I think what we're doing is actually recovering a connection back to nature and natural ways of being, and that's inevitable. And it happens that as we get to those sort of spaces, everything becomes magical, because magic, the world of magic, the magical experience of what we really are, and what reality really is, and what our soul really is, and the beauty of our experience of life. It has to be recovered, otherwise, the world doesn't go on the way it does. It just can't. That's why it's
Mhm.
changing. It has to change.
Yeah, yeah. In in the book Island, Aldo Huxley
Yeah.
posits, he imagines a system of government that cares to enable the psychedelic experience to students. And if I remember right, the roundabout age where the students in the school need to experience this is 16.
Right.
right on the cusp of adulthood.
Right.
And
Right.
I wonder if we'll ever get to see such a radical, on quotes, shift in consciousness in the powers that be.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that things are definitely changing, and we will see great change within the next 10 years for sure. It seems like we are going through a great revealing of all the things at the same time, and there's going to be some ugly parts as we go along with that as well. But that's what happens when there's a birth experience of a new consciousness and a new understanding of self and a new understanding of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, Martin. So, what I usually ask at the end of a podcast is, first of all, we are going through such intense times. Is there
Mm-hmm.
anything that you'd recommend for people as a path and a means to help them get through these times?
Yes, our experience through the millennia has um, left us with tools that can help us overcome these difficult times.
Mm.
And some of these tools are free, they're immediate, and they're mundane, such as laughter, in the sense of learn how to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Self-deprecation helps a bit so that we can inspire some humor, some self-reflective humor.
Yeah.
But laughing at the cosmic joke I believe, is essential to getting a grip on this form of reality.
Mm.
Meditation is one of the tools in the modern day human toolkit that we can use. It is at our disposal at any time of day. We can
Mm.
meditate while walking. We can meditate while on the job. I mean, during breaks, let's
Yes.
say,
Yeah.
depending the line of work that one is doing. But
Yeah. True.
I can't imagine somebody, driving a forklift and
No. No. No.
being
No. No.
in
Don't do
the
that then.
transcendent state. But definitely meditation is wondrous. Meditation enables us to go within and
Mm.
to clear our thoughts.
Okay, Martin. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. Now, how do people find you and your writing and get in contact with you?
Mhm. Um, I started a Substack. The handle is consciousprana.substack.com, and
Excellent.
this is where I'm going to share my writings. And I'm excited to announce that soon I will be publishing my own take on the Tao Te King.
Wow, cool.
Um,
Okay.
Simply, it will be rendered not through some of the archaic language and ideas, but I will try to bridge it closer to our time and
Okay.
our circumstance.
Very cool.
Yeah, so at the present, my Substack is the only outlet that I have, and
Okay.
I'm not
So
sure
I'll
if I have.
I'll
Mhm.
provide that the link to your Substack in the show notes, and
No, that would be nice.
yeah, and then I'd say people, if you're interested in knowing more, subscribe to Martin's Substack, and then that way you can also catch up with his book when he releases it.
Yes, thank you, CJ. Thank you
Yeah,
for putting the word out there.
yeah. Well, thank you
And
so much for your time, Martin. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to seeing your book come out, and yeah, we can talk more in the future.
most definitely, CJ.
All
I
right
wish
then.
you all the best.
Yeah, same to you, Martin. Thank you very much, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Well, thank you very much, Martin. That was quite a show. I didn't expect it to go the way that it went, and it was interesting in that we both got in on angles, our bites, and understandings of how reality is, and the experience of reality, and the benefits of transcendence. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you have an unusual experience or healing modality or life view or anything supernatural that you'd like to share, please come on the show. Contact me at supernormalized@proton.me, and I will look forward to speaking with you soon. Now, it's the end of the show, and thank you so much for listening for this week. I look forward to you coming back and listening to me next week. Until then, bye for now.